Hello everyone and welcome to The Good Old Gamer, the channel where we cut through the marketing bullshit, take a look at today's latest and greatest technologies, as well as old technologies, to figure out what gaming technologies make the most sense for you. Alright, so a few days ago I did a video basically asking, what's going on? What's with all the hate for the 6800, the RX 6800 series out there? And most of the response was availability. There were a few other complaints, and I'll address that later, but availability seemed to be the big thing with you guys. Now, AMD released the, reference models 1 week ago here today, and it was at that point that we knew that the AIB models would be coming out a week later, so that'd be now. And today, this morning, I noticed that Steve from Hardware Unboxed did his first video on the Sapphire Nitro Plus AIB model 6800 XT. So I'm like, okay, AIB models are here. Let's go check out stock and availability. And yeah, okay, so now we need to have a chat about that. I gave AMD 1 week to go ahead and show us that maybe they just didn't do a lot of reference models. They were going to flood the market with AIBs and everything would be okay. But in fact, things are actually worse now than what I thought last week. So we need to go into that here today, as AMD with the RX 6800s are really dropping the ball. Now, if you like these type of videos, make sure you smash that like button. AMD is not going to like what I have to say here, and they probably don't want people hearing this. But this is something that everybody needs to know. This is very important. So if you want to help support channels like mine, smash that like button. Make sure you're a subscriber. That lets YouTube know that you guys really do like the content. Commenting in the comment section lets them know that you're very active with it, and that really helps propel the channel, and I appreciate all you guys for your support. All right, so what's going on? Let's take a look at some numbers. Alrighty, so to kick things off, I started going over to nowinstock.net. This is actually way back when I got my GTX 1070, when those were new. I used this site to track down when they were in stock, so I was able to get my hands on one. So first thing I decided to do was see how many of the RX 6800s came in stock today and where they were available. So I started with the 6800 XT. Well, according to this, nothing's been updated since November 18th. So that's from last week. Not a single update since last week. Okay, so I'm like, all right, maybe the XT models, they didn't come in. Let's check the 6800s. Went over here, same thing, guys. So it would appear that AMD has not been replenishing their stock just yet. And as we know, and as I mentioned in a previous video, I was waiting for the AIB models to come in. But those should even be updating on here as well. So then I decided to jump on over to Newegg and see, did AIB models even actually come in? So I looked and I was like, oh, okay, hey, look, there's an AIB model. And then I noticed something else very disturbing. $799. This is a pretty huge price premium over the $649 MSRP. So I was like, okay, well, here's another one, and then there they all are. And none of these are in stock. What's really crazy is these prices were obviously set by the manufacturers and Newegg. These are not scalper prices. These are just what these things cost from these companies. And look at this guy right here with the blower style at $899. So not only are they not in stock, not available, you can't buy them, they're also priced substantially higher than AMD's MSRP. So as much flack as we gave NVIDIA, this actually appears to be a worse scenario than what was going on there. Switching on over to the 6800 non-XTs, we can see that they're asking $679, and then just kind of goes up from there. But as you can see, there's not really a whole lot of AIB models for the 6800, which is also a bit strange, considering when AMD did launch these cards, there were a lot more 6800s available than the XTs. What this says to me is nobody really got any of these things. They just popped up the picture that the manufacturer sent them and then set up the price that made the most sense, considering how much probably ASRock's charging for these cards and so on and so forth. Okay, so that paints a pretty bad picture now, doesn't it? Honestly, I wasn't expecting AMD to completely flood the market. It seems pretty obvious that there's some serious supply issues out there. But the fact that nowinstock.net has had 0 updates since the launch of the 6800 and 6800 XT, that's very disturbing. Here in the United States, 3 of the companies that they had on there was Amazon, Newegg, and Best Buy. And those are likely your 3 largest retailers for these type of products here in the United States. So if those guys aren't getting supplied, nobody else is. Unless AMD is playing favorites with some company nobody's ever heard of. So yeah, that is very, very disturbing. But they didn't have any AIB models on there. So I'm like, all right, maybe there's more to this whole situation. And that's why I jumped on over to Newegg. I'm like, maybe that site's just not updating fast enough. Maybe it doesn't have the right trackers. And then seeing the AIB models at $800 for the 6800 XT, this basically confirms all of our worst fears. Like I said, I was still holding out hope that AMD was going to be able to come out with some sort of supply, and I was hoping that they'd be able to keep prices under control. They can't, they won't, and they're not. It's just that simple. It's very clear that these cards are going to demand a premium for a very long time, as perhaps it's pandemic related, perhaps not. I mean, I can't say for sure, but they can't meet demand, and the demand is outpacing them like 100 to 1. So yeah, there's going to be really high prices here. Essentially, this is like a mining boom without an actual mining boom. It's just a supply shortage boom, I guess. What would be the opposite of a boom? An implosion? A regression? I don't know, but it's really, really bad to see this. Now, NVIDIA, to their credit, at least at this point, are bringing out product at a regular interval. Almost every day, you'll have a chance of getting a 3070 or a 3080. 3090 seem to be a less in stock, but those don't really matter that much. So yeah, they're doing a little bit better, but they've also had a head start. So I guess you could kind of say, all right, maybe that's the reason why they're doing better here now. But for AMD, though, this means that they're even one step further. If NVIDIA is getting supply out there, even if in limited, supply, they're outstripping AMD much, much bigger, much faster. AMD has had no updates, here in the US at least, have not resupplied anybody. Now, we all knew that this holiday season, it was going to be down to supply. It was going to be a supply war. It's the same thing with PS5 versus Series X. It's going to be the same thing with, AMD versus NVIDIA. And if you guys saw the Technomics podcast that came out yesterday, in there we talked about Intel. Intel actually has supply on CPUs, and even Zen 2 CPUs are pretty much dried up. The Ryzen 3100, I checked it out yesterday. Those are now selling for $167 on Newegg. Meanwhile, you can get an i3 10100F for $105. They're roughly the same, up and down, depending on where you're at. So we're actually getting to the point where finding alternative solutions. If you need to build, maybe you were waiting for this holiday season, maybe you saved up some money, and you just can't wait any longer. Perhaps, you need it for work, or you want to play the latest and greatest games. I mean, let's be honest, holiday season's when big games launch. Maybe you're waiting for Cyberpunk, maybe it's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Call of Duty, whatever it is. There's a lot of big games out there, and if you were hoping to get something this holiday season, it's just not really going to happen. Realistically, you're probably better off trying to get a console, as those guys have been able to satiate the majority of their demand. Most people that were fervent and really wanted to get a PS5 or a Series X seem to have gotten them. The normies are going to have a hard time getting their hands on one, but that's usually how that goes. The people that don't want to wait out in line for 24 hours, you're not going to get one. That's how that works. But those that did wait outside for 24 hours in line, pretty much all those people did get one. Now, on the GPU side, I'm going to say maybe 2 or 3% of the GPU market's going to get satisfied this holiday season. It's going to be extremely low, which means these prices, these inflated prices of $800 for a $650 card are going to continue and possibly even get worse, because if they sell at $800, somebody's going to be like, why don't we try $900? And it's just going to keep going up until people stop buying them, and then they'll revert back and go, all right, this is the top point, and then they'll eventually slide back down in price. So yeah, it looks like 6800 XTs might end up somewhere around the $1,000 mark, much like the 3080s are. And like I said, eventually slide back down to MSRP, but it's going to be a very slow decline to where we might actually be near RDNA 3's release before you can get these at or near MSRP. Now, next year, maybe supply chains will open up and the whole world will be better and all of that. We can all hope, but I don't think that's going to happen. To be honest with you, it looks like things are going to get worse. There's more lockdowns going on. Everybody's freaking out about all sorts of other stuff. So there's no actual indication to me that that hope is justified at this point. So basically, my best advice for you is find something that will work, that'll do the trick at a reasonable price, even if it's old technology, no matter what it is. 1080 Ti or, like I just got the 2060, that's good enough. It'll last a while until things either calm down or settle down. Or if this becomes the new norm, where both NVIDIA and AMD just say, screw it, we'll come out with products and slow drip feed them so they can sell off their old stock. If this becomes their new standard practice, at that point, I might have to start recommending you just keep your stuff until literally you can't play 1080p 60 anymore with it. So until the card can't do 1080p medium 60 FPS, just don't give these people your money anymore. Or possibly even switch to console. That's really where I'm almost at with this whole situation. If this goes on for 6 or 8 months longer and they just can't supply GPUs to the market, we're almost to the point where I'm going to suggest just getting a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. I don't like the closed ecosystem. I like being able to have the mods and all the free games and all the cool stuff that you can do on PC. But it might just be worth buying like an RX 480 or 580 or GTX 1060 or something secondhand. Just play a lot of that stuff on your PC, but then for newer AAA games, console might actually just be the way to go. And perhaps that's what AMD is trying to do. Maybe they're trying to make PC the more premium platform and they're trying to push people over to console. That's just my thought. I don't have anything to back that up. I'm just speculating. Perhaps that's where they want to go. I don't know, but like I said, $800 for 6800 XTs. They're not refreshing their stock. It's been a week. The AI B models aren't really out. They were posted, but I don't think any of them were actually sold. Otherwise, Now in Stock would have probably had some sort of update. Maybe it's, a little bit behind. I don't know how their website works, but to me, this is just really bad, guys, and I don't really have a solution for you at this point. Best thing to do is just wait and see. Let's give it until, after CES, see what the landscape looks like. Maybe things will calm down, but if they don't, 2021 may not be any better than what we're seeing right now, and that's a real shame. So just hold on to what you have. Don't sell off any of your parts. If you have to, if you can try to get one of these things, use a credit card, and until it shows up, keep your stuff. Until you have it in your hands, you don't actually have it. And like I said, with a credit card, if it doesn't show up, you cancel it, you get your money back, so you're not tying up any of your funds. So normally I don't recommend using credit to buy PC parts. You should just pay cash because, they're not that expensive. And if you can't pay cash, you shouldn't buy it. But in this case, it's to protect your money. So this way you're not tying up $600, $700 on something during Christmas season that you may not even get. So yeah, this is dark times, guys. I haven't seen anything quite this bad in the industry where CPUs are sold out, GPUs are sold out, and there's really no decent options. CPU side, really at this point, I'm recommending Intel. That's where we're at, guys. 10400s, 10400Fs for like $150, $170. That's the CPU to get right now. That's crazy. And that's only because nobody's been recommending Intel, so they actually have stock. But once people figure out, let's see, Ryzen 3600s are $270 now, and I can get basically the same performance for $170, more people are going to go towards that. So yeah, unfortunately on the GPU side, it's just going to be pick up whatever's available, check Craigslist, check eBay listings. Maybe you can get lucky and get something at a decent price. The RX 5600 XTs, they're going on sale for pretty decent prices here, around $250 here lately. Maybe that's the way you go. Use that for a year or two, and then when things are better off, then you upgrade. But if you have something decent now, just hang on to it. That's really all I can say at this point. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Obviously, I know you're going to be frustrated about the supply issues, but I'm really interested to hear, do you guys have any better solutions? Obviously, just waiting works, but what would you suggest to people that do need something? Maybe they waited. They waited for Zen 3. They waited for RDNA 2. They waited for Black Friday. So maybe they've been waiting for 6 months, and they have their funds and they need to upgrade, like I said, either for work or they really do want to enjoy these games. What would your recommendation be to those people? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section on that. Well, alrighty guys, once again, if you like this type of video, please smash that like button, please subscribe, please share with friends. That really does help me out. The channel cannot grow anymore. YouTube is very, very hard on smaller channels nowadays. So it's only with you guys sharing the videos, liking them, and commenting that channels like these are ever going to actually thrive again on YouTube. So I really, really appreciate that. And that's really all I have for you here today. And I will catch you guys in the next video.